Hello, my friends. John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo. And in this episode, we're going to look at Planta Nubo. And I'm going to show you how to play this game from a solo standpoint. And I'm going to explain it to you, tell you about it, let you know what I think about it, and we'll go from there. All right, let's get started. Okay, folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. If you have, I really do appreciate that support. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is what the game looks like entering into the fourth and final round. All right, now what is going on in this game? Well, in essence, what you're trying to do is you're trying to score points by planting forests and getting green points around this track, which ultimately lead you to accomplishing goals, which help you score points in other ways. And the points in this game are called oxygen points, these blue things right here. And you get a lot of points from traveling around your green energy track, and as you cross over some of these upgraded spots, they can score you points. As you do other things, it can score you things. At the end of the game, any of these cards that you have that show this like full moon, they would score you points for conditions. And if you get these specific goals and conditions throughout the game over here, you can score points at the end of each round in the income phase. So that's what you have kind of going over around here in an overview standpoint. Over here is where you're taking your actions. And each of these different tiles are different sets of actions you can take. And then you have these other ones, these flower bed tiles, which are how you get things onto your board to start to plant and grow and do all this other jazz. And then up here, you have these contracts that you can deliver to, all right? And you have 3 over here that you deliver to, and then you have 3 that are up and coming. You also have some personal contracts, although I don't have any right now. I've fulfilled the ones I had, that you can also deliver to get some green points over here, or green energy. And then the AI, of course, has their stuff all over here, which I'll talk about in a second. This game has an awful lot of complexity to it. There is no doubt about it. And there's no other way to describe this game without saying it's complex and pretty heavy. But in essence, each turn is going to follow these steps. You are going to basically place a tool, of which you have 4 types, at an intersection between 1 or 2 blue tiles and a flower tile if you put it over in these spots right here, according to some placement rules. All right, and the placement rules are there basically, you cannot place the same type of tool next to, or I'm sorry, alongside of a blue tile that already has one. So since I already placed this wrench here, the AI couldn't place that wrench there, but they could place a shovel or a screwdriver or a hammer. I have no idea really what that's supposed to thematically represent, but it is there. It is a placement rule. At the end of 3 turns, well, I'll put it this way. Then after you've placed your tool, carried out your actions, you can also decide to carry out one or the other action next to the place you place your tool. But if you wanted to, you could spend 2 of your bot energy here to carry out both actions. So for instance, if I place this tool right here, I can carry out this or that. And then if I spent 2 of my energy, which I don't have 2, I only have 1 right now, once per round, you could do both of these or both of these, okay? And then after you're done carrying out all your turns, then you're able to fulfill by taking 1 flower and putting it onto the leftmost open spot of your contracts, again, which I don't have any, and you could do 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom, and then you could take one of your standby actions, okay? And then these are the actions that have these little standby markers, which right here I have one. At the end of a round, I could do this and I could get 2 green energy. And when I get green energy, I move my die, my energy marker around this area. And every time it lands on or goes past something with one of these or these symbols, I add a symbol to it. All right. Now, what in the world does that all look like? Well, I'll show you in just a second. But after that, after you've done that 3 times, then you do a tool phase or a craftsman phase where the remainder tool, the last tool you have, you're going to play it out on the matching spot and you're going to get the bonus. And if it has one of these little robot tokens on it, you'll get extra bot energy too. and you'll get some kind of special action. Okay, and then finally you'll go to the forest phase where you can plant a forest. And to plant a forest, you take either one of the three personal, I've already planted one of those, forest spots and put it onto fertilized soil. So for instance, these are open. I could put one of these right here, and that would be fine. Or if I can somehow manage to maneuver these flowers into different flower pots and get them off the spot before I want to place down a tile, I might be able to take a bigger one over there. And these tiles have different rewards on them. So for instance, this one says immediately upgrade your die value, and then you're going to immediately get your die value +1 in points. But later on in the turn, you can flip this over to score 5 points at the end. So there's all sorts of stuff going on in this game. Tons of it. Once you're done with your turn, then the bot is going to flip over one of these tiles. And the bot, based on the tile, is going to determine which action it's going to prefer to place which tool next to and in which configuration. It's going to then take the actions of both the tiles that are next to it. It always works overtime. And then it's going to do whatever it says down here. And it's going to do that in accordance with a specific key over here, which is similar but not exactly the same as you executing your turn. Now I will say this, in the DeVere copy that I had duplicates of 2 tiles in my stack. So if you've bought the DeVere copy and you get the one that just came out as of late September 2024, check your bot tiles. You might end up with 2 of the same tile. And if that's the case, go to BoardGameGeek.com, look for the form that says duplicate bot solo tile, and the designer posted the actual the cards you can actually print off, and I actually printed it on a sticker and put it on top of here. So this is actually stuck on. It looks pretty good. I also requested a replacement from DeVere, but my fear is they may have a misprint. Maybe they don't. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully I just got some bad luck. But it looked like they may have a misprint that it might take a little bit to fulfill. So just take a look at that. Be sure to look at that. See if that's something you have to deal with. Now let me just show you a turn. Okay, so that you get a feel for what's going on in this game. All right. Now, on my turn, it's actually the bot's turn first because I'm on the 4th level or 4th round. And I took the first turn in the first round. So it goes back and forth. He's going to flip over this card, okay? And this card says it wants to do this specific action. So I look in the upper left corner. Where is that? Well, that's the window action right here. It absolutely can do it. There's nobody on the floor right now. It wants to do it with a green tool, and it wants to put the tool on the top spot. All of that can be totally done because it has no issues fulfilling any of those things. And there's a lot there. I'm just going to tell you it can be done, okay? So I put the tool there, and the first thing it does is it accomplishes the window little action right there, which means it's going to upgrade its spot to this slot here because it fulfilled the condition, i.e. it had 2 forests already in its area, which are just on the side. You can't quite see this, but previously it has built 2 of these, okay? So it is able to do that. Then the second action is it's going to remove a flower that's available, and it's going to put this over here off to the side in its area, but it's going to get 3 flower tokens. And it just puts them in its area over here in its flower pot. And then after it's done both of those actions, it is going to spend a bot charge to clear I think it's the lowest of its contracts. Basically refreshing it so that it can refill them again. However, because I'm playing on the secondary level, it doesn't even pay this. It just clears this, and there it goes. Now it is going to try to fulfill it's going to try to deliver to each of these contracts if it can. So the first thing is it has a red, it can deliver, it's going to deliver, and it's going to score 3 green energy. We're not going to move the green energy token just yet. We're just going to know it scored 3. Then it can't score this because you can see there is no yellow. However, it can trade in all 3 of these orange to make a yellow and put a yellow out here. That's a special thing the bot can do. Now it has scored 5 green energy. So what it's going to do is it's going to take one of these little markers and put it over here, because for every 2 green energy, it's going to score 1 point. So it's going to get 2 points, and then in change, it holds this marker over there, which it'll contribute to next time. And that is its turn. Now, what is my turn going to look like? Well, what am I trying to do? There's so many things you can do. So what I'm trying to do at this point is I would like to see if I can plant this at the end of my round so that I can maybe qualify for this. Or find a way to plant it early. But I can't even really pull that off because of the situation there. So I'm not even going to worry about that. There are blocking spots here which I can open up, and if I open up those areas, I can get more room to plant things. And I might do that because I kind of want this 2 points. So in the interest of just doing something for the demonstration of this video, let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tool that I don't want to use, okay? And I really don't care about this tool right now because I don't care about that bonus at the end. I'm going to put this right here. And it is going to allow me to remove one of these blocking spots, opening up all of this light area right here. And when I remove one of those, I get to take my choice of any one of these actions over here. And in the action I'm going to take in this case is I'm going to get a bot charge. So I got a charge there. Now, because I got that charge, the other thing I can do is I can flip over one of these tiles, or I can use a free action. Well, I have a flip over tile right here, or I could use this to move twice. I think I'm going to flip this one over because I think I'm going to get around to it, moving over it and scoring me a point later. So I flipped that. Now this is done. I'm going to work overtime because I just got 2 of these, and I'm going to move this over here, and I'm going to take this yellow and I'm going to plant it right in this spot right here. Let's see if I can do it in a way. I can't use that. All these are open. I'll do it like this. And that covered up those 2 points. So I'm going to get those 2 points right now. 1, 2. And I'm going to put 5 yellows on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, my turn on both of these is done. So then I would be able to deliver to contracts if I had any, but I don't. Then I can do 1 free action, which I will do. I will spend this charge right here. And spending that standby token moves this up 2 spaces, 1, 2. And because I moved to this spot, I get to put another charge token over here. You don't activate these things when you move on. They kind of like set themselves up to be used later, and that's how that works. Okay, so my turn is now done, and we go back to him. So we're going to go back and forth doing that, blocking each other over here, taking different actions until the round is done. And a couple other actions that I didn't really demonstrate to you is kind of things that you would think of: getting contracts, okay? Placing down or putting in your reserve these little soil tiles to grow things, or flipping over and upgrading your forests. The upgrade will score you points at the end. There's the delivery to the contracts up there. And so this tile is very important. This is how you deliver different things in any order to these. And when you finally finish a contract, you get a bonus point of 1. And that's going to get you a lot of green energy, which is going to have this thing move around, charging up all these cards. And to get more of these cards, you can effectively get 12 throughout the game. You start with 2. This action right here and this action right here allow you to choose a card from this offer and put it in place. And the cards that are blue are endgame scoring cards, and the cards over here that aren't are cards that do things for you throughout the game. So lots of stuff going on, lots to consider. But that demonstrates to you just kind of like all the steps that would happen on the bot's turn and for me. And you do this, you basically will take, there's 4 rounds, 3 of those tool phases per round. So you're talking about 12 turns with the possibility of overtime. So bonus things in there that you can do that. So it's really up to 16 different actions, so to speak, in this game. But lots of things can like string together, and there's a ton of things you have to be aware of as you're doing what you're doing. Okay. Now, the final thing is at the very end of the game, you're of course going to sum up your points you've already scored. You're going to add points for any of your forests that you have. You're going to add points for any specific cards like this. If you have flowers and flower pots that score you points, you're going to add any other cards that allow you, if you have, I'm sorry, you're like any other little bonuses like this right here. If you have standby tokens that are on here, they're worth 3 points. On here, they're worth 3 points at the end of the game. And then finally, the last craftsman tool spot, wherever you put the last tool, you're going to reveal this, and it's going to show you what you score for. It's like another scoring condition at the end. You sum up all those points, and then if you have more points than the bot, you win, and if you don't, you lose. All right, let me tell you what I think about it. So Planta Nubo is a very interesting but very, very complex and tough to play game. It really is a tough to play game. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the rules that you have to keep in mind are not, they feel very gamey. First of all, I really like this game. I really do. In fact, it's going to stay in my collection forever, I can already tell, because there is so much to puzzle over and think over and try to anticipate and work out. I really like these types of games, but it is heavy on the level of like inventions, or even heavier than Scholars probably, or an Inventors of the South Tigris. It's heavy on those levels with content rules, but some of them feel just gamey almost. Like the whole tool thing. I don't understand the reason the tools had to be different from one another. I mean, they basically set up a way to try to do some kind of twist on worker placement, was what I'm gathering, right? But they didn't want to make it so that your worker couldn't go in different spots, so they put them in these intersections, and that's all fine. It's just, it's very just gamey, so to speak, right? And what I mean by that is there is no linkage to any kind of theme that would make it intuitive of this is what's going on. And in that matter, so to speak, the theme for this game is ostensibly just, I don't know, it is what it is. I think they made a game, they just put a theme onto it. It looks nice. It has very nice artwork. It looks like a lot of fun. I like it. But I could care less about what we're actually doing here. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but it seems just a little like, okay, whatever. It's a Euro game, and that's fine with me. But I want to just be clear. It's not like one of the other Euro games where you feel like, and I should say it's more of a rarity than usual, but the theme really comes through. In this game, it really doesn't matter. I mean, yeah, I get it. You're growing flowers, and then the flowers you pick, and you fulfill them to fulfill contracts for whatever reason, and then it turns into forest. Okay, loose, I guess. But what the heck do the tools mean? I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. The point is, this is a great game for people who really, really, really like puzzle games, or really like heavy Euros with a lot of complex overhead. I did not find the rule book to be laid out poorly. I thought it was actually laid out pretty well, but there's just so much to consider. I had to read the rules, play it, fumble through it for a while, probably spending about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, playing through it and just really tripping and falling my way through. Then reread the rules again, and then it made sense, and then I was able to play it much more smoothly and understand what was going on and understand how it all worked. But there's a lot of interlinking things here that you got to pay attention to. And that's going to be really tough for people who struggle with AP, or who don't want to consider like 5 or 6 different steps when playing. Now, for me, and from a solo standpoint, the AP is no problem. I don't mind. I have the time. I like to do it, and I like these kinds of games. So I'm a big Euro fan. You all know that. And this game is going to appeal for those kind of people. But I can see why it had some mixed reviews, because I think some people are going to feel like this is just too much for them to handle, just too much going on. And luckily, I'm not sometimes, and I have a threshold. Don't get me wrong, I have a threshold. But this one is not there. It's closer, but it's not there. I really like the game. I think it's very fun. I think the puzzle is great. I'm actually very happy with how easy it is so to speak, to run the bot. And I say easy because this game is super complex. At least the bot, in deciding what to do in the cards, it flows pretty easily because of how quickly and how specific their conditions are. Luckily, it's not a if this then that, if this and that. It sort of is, but it's not one of those things that has, it's either they qualify with the condition or they don't. It's not choose this, but then figure out which one you're more favoring to, and then go to this way, but look at these tiebreakers. All that stuff, thankfully, doesn't have to go into the decision making, because if it did, it'd probably be too much, and I'd probably implode on myself and say I can't handle it. But this, luckily, is not. It's just a yes or no condition, and once you have a yes, then the other things are really easy. Is that tool available? Is it violating the placement rules? Nope. All right, which side is it going to go on? Boom, there it is, done. Make the turn, do the other one. It's very, very easy to figure out at that point. But getting there and everything else is going to take some doing. So if you pull this game from the shelf and buy it, be prepared to spend some time working versus playing through that first game. But it's worth it, in my opinion, if you like heavy Euros and you like big, fat puzzles. The combination of cards, the things that you can do, the ways you can score, there's just a myriad of things you can focus on. Lots of options, lots to discover and explore. So I think it's worth it. But you may not. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it, everybody. And whatever you do in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.